This is Rachel Jenkin here with Grace Sossaman to share her thoughts and memories on water in the Southwest region here in Colorado.
Thank you. Well, I've lived in Bayfield now for 50 years. Before that, it was Arizona, and before that, I grew up in the Chicagoland area. Every summer was spent at Lake Michigan on the shore there and the beach. And in the summertime, we would go down there first thing in the morning. We'd stay all day until we were just absolutely burnt to crisps. And we followed the beach along to the harbor there where they stored all of their boats and so forth. And there was also a Coast Guard station there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I got older, that was fun.
Don't have that here.
No, we don't have anything like that here. But, you know, I grew up on the lake, and I never thought much about it until I moved to Arizona. And, of course, they have the lakes there, and I did seek out fishing opportunities and so forth because that's what we did. In Arizona, I married a farmer, and then water became
super different,
a whole
right?
different animal. Yeah, we farmed by using wells down there in the Phoenix area, and we were fortunate to be on a ranch that had super well rights and water rights, and so when we brought the water up through the well, though, it went into a ditch that was cemented. And therefore, it didn't go into the ground, and you didn't waste any. You put it where you wanted it. Yeah. We moved from Arizona up to here. We continue to raise cows in both areas, but pretty soon we left the ranch down there and came up here, and it was a whole different animal. I had never drank water from a well, except for my grandmother's up in Wisconsin, of course. But no, well water, I couldn't believe that well water tasted like it did. It was like a whole different kind of water. Yeah, once you have it, you can't go back.
Right,
you know?
yes.
But anyway, yeah, we had that, and then when we first moved here, I had two little girls, and the three of us used to go over to a pond on a neighbor's place, and we would skate on his pond in the winter. And it was a place for all the kids to gather, and everybody went there. It was a lot of fun, and it gave me an opportunity to do things again with the frozen water.
Yeah. Was that pond here in Bayfield?
Yes, it was.
Oh, cool.
And it was right across from my pasture. It was a lot of fun and provided a lot of hours of enjoyment. And if it hadn't been for that, the way the water came through the ditches and so forth, of course, he couldn't have, had his pond, and we couldn't have skated. But then in the summertime, too, we would go over to another pond area, which was Jack LaPlatte's ponds up north of the highway. And they opened it up to all of the kids back then.
Fun.
It was totally open, and the kids could go and swim all they liked. And nobody worried about lawsuits over any kind of, harm that the kids got into and so forth. And that was the summer opportunity for kids around here. So water provided both of those things. But it also provided water for our cows. It provided water for us to run through ditches and water our fields so that we could have the cows. It continues to do that today, although I am out of the ranching, farming business. I lost my husband 25 years ago, and that was that. But I'm so glad to have raised my children around it.
Oh, yeah.
It had meant a lot to me to be able to do that as compared to the childhood that I had.
Yeah, right in the Midwest where water was just kind of for granted.
Yes, a lot was taken for granted back there.
Like rain, and like this year with the monsoon season, it's been awesome. But have a season where it's raining and not just kind of all the time.
It used to be that way. It used to be before we had this drought. It used to be every afternoon, it seemed, in the summertime, we had a storm every single day. And it was just something that you knew was going to happen and you planned accordingly. With the drought, it was just all of a sudden there were no rains. And this has been the rainiest that I can remember. And I can see it. It's like my yard and my gardens and so forth. It's like you can almost hear them giggle. They have produced flowers and fruit like they haven't in years and years and years. And that's just the way it used to be. And when you've had it that way before, and then you go through that dry period, it really makes you aware of a year like this year has been with the moisture that we've had. I was quite involved with the Missionary Ridge fire and so forth, evacuating people and that kind of thing. And I helped the sheriff's department quite a bit throughout. It was quite an ordeal and something that I never dreamed would happen here because of all the moisture we always had. It was terrible. It was just awful. And it seemed to last forever. But hopefully it's a thing of the past now and we can get on about our lives. It worried us that the farmers didn't have their water because if without that water they can't grow their crops and they can't grow their...
Bayfield, right? That water that provides water for this entire area was dry.
Oh yeah.
There were fire
puddles,
right? Yeah.
Just puddles. That water, when it comes down from Bayfield through the ditches to water the fields around here, I say a prayer and just thank God that it's the way it is now. Again, when we bought property, that was one thing we always made sure of was what the water rights were. You know, I have a spring on my property, and my husband told me before he passed away, he said, I want you to go and file legally on that spring so that nobody can take that water away from you. And thank the Lord that he did that, because I went and I got the rights to that spring, and now the town has tried to take it away from me on several occasions, and I refuse to submit to that.
Good.
And I have the right to do so now.
That
spring helped keep my grass green throughout the drought.
Wow.
Really. And it continued to produce, which was surprising. Not a lot, it didn't have a lot, but enough before that it made a wetland area, which...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the government has said is a wetland along my pasture there.
Have you seen it be fuller this year? Is it a bit more robust?
Oh my goodness.
And years?
But yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And we have to be careful with it, because if I send it the wrong way, it'll go down into the ground, travel through the ground, into people's basements if they have basements. It's been a pain to them, but just a boon to us.